Let's make a caramel apple pecan cake because it's perfect for autumn baking. This cake is a stir together. 2 batters come from 1 bowl. You're gonna love it. Let's get started. Now say it with me, everybody. We love a stir-together cake, and this one is super easy. The flavors are dynamic, and you're gonna love it. We're gonna start in a bowl with all-purpose flour, and let's get our spices in here first. We're talking about some cinnamon and nutmeg, autumn in a bowl, some kosher salt and baking powder, and we'll get our dry ingredients whisked together as we get started, and then it's all gonna go into the bowl right next to it. Just give this a quick whisk until you see those spices and everything have been evenly distributed. That's ready to roll. Now, in a large bowl, we are going to whisk together unsalted butter that's been melted, but I'm gonna pour it over granulated sugar and brown sugar. So I like to add those into the bowl so A, the butter doesn't splash on me, but it also starts to combine with the sugars. And then we're gonna get these combined before I add any of my other ingredients. You can start whisking in the center of your bowl too, so that butter, like I said, doesn't splash out on us. You can break up any clumps of sugar with your whisk. And then make sure these are combined before adding other ingredients. You wanna get that butter worked all the way in here with the sugar. Once you see that butter's been incorporated, your whisk can go to the edge of the bowl, and then everything's coming together beautifully. How about that? All right, now we're gonna add our eggs. Then I've got apple cider. I almost said apple cider vinegar. It is not, it is just apple cider. And then vanilla extract, the most delicious essence of baking. I break up my eggs with the whisk, always. And then again, start there in the center and whisk until you see everything combining. And you can take the whisk out to the other side of the bowl. I've got some shredded apples ready to go. But the first thing we're gonna do is we are going to take our dry ingredients and we're gonna add half of it to the bowl and whisk this together before adding the apples. Now when I see the flour starts to get thick, I'm gonna switch over to a spatula. I can fold or stir gently. I don't like to whisk too much once I see everything coming together. And then when you see a few bits of flour remaining in the bowl, you can get those apples in here and get these incorporated. Definitely don't use a whisk once you get the apples in here because then they're just gonna stick inside the balloon of your whisk. Scrape through the sides and bottom and add the last half of your dry ingredients. I mean, we're talking about fast, right? Baking live and in action here in the kitchen. And as I get to the end of adding my dry ingredients, it's more of a folding technique here where I'm taking my spatula, going up, down, and around, bringing it all together. I like to give you a little folding chant to remember it. You start at 12 o'clock, move to 6 o'clock, and give the bowl a quarter turn. This helps to combine everything gently. And don't over mix, but you do want to make sure that your flour has been completely absorbed. So do some scrape through the sides and bottom and stir just to get everything combined. Now this is the fun part of the cake batter. We're gonna add some more flavor and we're gonna do it in a marbling. So here's where your caramel and your apple flavor comes together. I'm gonna add about 2 cups of my batter to this bowl. So then I'll have my apple spice batter here. And then in this bowl, I'm gonna add some dulce de leche. Dulce de leche, I hope I'm saying that correctly. And I've got some toasted pecans that are finely chopped. And then I'm just gonna stir this together until evenly distributed. And then we're gonna be ready to bake. Well, it's gotta get in the pan first, but I'm sure you figured that. All right, bring this together. Again, I fold that through, trying not to stir vigorously. I do want this to be a nice tender cake crumb, but I do need to have all of these ingredients evenly combined. So always be gentle when stirring cake batters, especially after you've added your dry ingredients. Okay, 2 batters, 1 pan, 2 scoops. Let's do it. I have a 10-cup bundt pan that I've sprayed with a baking spray with flour. And then I have 2 scoops. Both of these are 1.5 tablespoon scoops. And I'm going to alternate my batters all the way in the pan as we build a marbled cake batter. So I can put this here and reach for the other batter and just alternate all the way until you have your cake pan filled. This is a great way to combine 2 flavors. You're going to get natural marbling, and it makes each slice super delicious. This is such a great technique for marbling. You don't have to swirl any of the batters. You're just alternating and layering in the pan, and then the rest of the magic's gonna happen in the oven. Now, how to get everything settled in the pan, nice and marbled. You have a kitchen towel on the counter. Be sure you do that. We don't want to break any stone or anything in your kitchen. And then take the pan and firmly tap it 7 to 10 times. I turn the pan each time, and you'll see the batter settles in, and then we'll get a nice marbling with this caramel apple bundt cake. Okay, we've released the air bubbles, we've got everything settled in, and the pan is off to a 325-degree oven to bake until a wooden pick inserted in the center comes out clean, or if you have an instant read thermometer, it should register 205 degrees Fahrenheit when inserted into the center. Total baking time is about 1 hour and 15 minutes to 1 hour and 25 minutes, and then you'll let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes before turning it out onto a wire rack to let it cool completely. Here we go. Hey bakers, I hope you're loving today's video, and if you are, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep all the baking fun going together. And you'll also find in the description a link to the recipe and information about how you can be a part of the Bake From Scratch baking community. Now, let's get back in the kitchen and keep the baking going. The cake is cooled. I'm ready to slice into it, but let's add a glaze. This is a combination of dulce de leche along with water that has been stirred together just to loosen it up, and that's it. It's gonna be delicious on the cake. Oh, a little vanilla too. I did wanna add a little bit more flavor. But just spoon this onto your cooled cake because this is gonna be that added layer. Think about like caramel apples, where you have that beautiful apple coated in that glossy caramel. And that's exactly what we're gonna get here with this glaze, just going on the top of the cake. You can come back and add more if you want to. I always start just in the center. There we go, running down the cake, get nice and beautiful. This is autumn personified. The spices, the apple, and now some toasted pecans, just to go right on the top here. I love garnishing with things that are inside the cake so that people know the flavor. And then of course the apple, you can't have an apple on the top, but that flavor is gonna be indicative of the season. Now this can be stored in an airtight container for up to 3 days. I never think things are gonna last that long, so good luck with that. Well, let's take a look at this beautiful cake. Wow. There's your marbling. Look at that. Gonna get in here and take a big bite too, because I've got to get that top, that glaze, the pecans, the marbling, searching for that perfect bite. And while the glaze is still a little warm, it's even better. The crunch of the pecan, the spices, but the apple, the texture is so soft because of the apple. This is a cake I know you're going to love. The recipe is down below. I cannot wait to see when you make this, so please tag me on social media. It's your turn to bake, everybody, so get those ovens preheated. Autumn baking is calling. See you next time.